So let's take a look at our dwarf fleet. So we've got a Grimstone. It performed really well last time. I love the Grimstone, and I've given it a veteran crew. We've got a rune axe at the side as well. Just a base rune axe, no upgrades at all. A hunter, because I think these smaller ships are going to be really handy in this scenario. And then a fury. I love it. I can't not take a fury. I just think they're brilliant. A word on the previous game, I actually played the movement slightly wrong. So the Dwarves' engines allow them to make a move at the beginning of one move step in their total move, not two. So we'll bear that in mind for this game. So they're still pretty manoeuvrable, not as manoeuvrable as they were last time. Well, thanks for pointing out. If you see anything like that, please let me know. We're all learning at the end of the day. Now let's have a look at the Orc fleet. So with the Orcs, we've gone for good old Smasher at the back. I love the model. He's got more axe, more guns and grappling hooks. I'll never make that mistake again. And a veteran crew. So he's quite a pricey model. I'm hoping he's going to do the legwork for the Orcs here. He's bringing 2 rabble squadrons with him, because again, I think these, although they're not going to score many victory points in this, they're so manoeuvrable. I think they're going to be a real benefit to this. We've also got a hammer fist with grapple hooks and a veteran crew as well. And then a blood runner again for scoring the victory points. So the Orcs were 1 point up on the Dwarves, but it's all friendly at the end of the day. So there's the Orcs. Let's get set up for the Vortex. Okay, there we go. So we've got the Dwarves in 2 corners. We've got the rune axe, no, the Grimstone, sorry, and the hunter down here. Thought is that the hunter's going to nip in here and get some points. We've got the fury, because yeah, toasted orc is always good. And the rune axe over here, facing off against a hammer fist and a blood runner with the 2 rabble squadrons. Again, the idea is getting to this in the middle. And then we've got the big boy, the Smasher, coming in the side to provide some support. So this scenario is all about proximity to this Vortex, and you score victory points if you're within 4 or within 8 of it. But it does some pretty funky things. So basically it's like, at the end of the scoring, it'll move ships towards it. If you contact it, you're dead. So it should be quite interesting, quite fun. Initial wind direction. Obviously starting from the east. So if we look at our thing there, that's actually the Smasher and your dwarf ships here. It moves across onto the squadrons and then over here into this sort of massive ships. So without further ado, let's have a look at how the Dwarves and Orcs do. Now our Smasher's at speed 2, so I'm going to move him forward 4. First of all, going 1 to 5, guys, just as we know. I like to make sure that we're all turning here. I'm a bit concerned about this though. So, let's get him stuck in. 5 like that. And let's angle him ever so slightly, like that. And at that position he's going to open up onto this hunter. Okay, now he's partially visible, -1, range -1, and it's a small target for -1. So we need some nice, it's only his heavies that are in. So have a look, ooh, look at that, 2 hits. And although he's got arc there to the fury, he's out of range. So 4 damage to the hunter, not a bad start for the Orcs. Okay, so let's get our Grimstone going, shall we? So we can move 4. Do we want to turn? Let's turn slightly at the end of that movement step. I'm just going to mark off where the hunter is so I can shift him. No. Turn ever so slightly like that. Put hunter back. And let's move forward another 4. Now I've angled that so it shouldn't hit that rock. And I'm going to turn him again. Oh, he might be out, he might be out. Do we leave him like that? Let's leave him like that. And he's got his 2 heavy cannons into the Smasher. He's just within 10, so he's not at the -1 there. And he's +1 because it's a large target, which is always good. So, we're going to be hitting on 5. 2 solid hits again, trading the damage back and forth. It's now a brave hunter's turn to go, so he's going to go forward 5. And I think, to be fair, he's going to go forward 5 again. And he's going to turn at the end of his movement. So we don't want him to actually crash into this and be removed, so we'll go like that. Is he? Yeah, he's going to stay like that. It unfortunately leaves him out of arc of the smasher, but he is within the scoring zone. Yes. Okay, it's now our squadron's turn. So squadrons move slightly differently in the game. We've not encountered these yet. And in that they just have one move step where they move 7 straight forward. And then they can turn twice during that move step, angling around their centre point. So we're going to go slightly like that because we don't want to hit a sandbank. And at that point, he's only got light guns out the front, so he's out of range. But the idea there is we're getting close to actually score some points, hopefully. So moving on to our second squadron. He's going to go forward his full distance, just like his friend. Okay, our Fury gets to move. Now, I think the Fury's benefit here is to move forward, make a turn in. Ever so slightly. And go forward 4 again. And he's going to have a pop at this squadron here. The idea here is if I can kill these, it's going to be less scoring ability for the Orcs, and they're going to have to get the big boys close to the whirlpool. It's -2 to hit though because of the size of the target, so it's a miss. Okay, next up we have our Blood Runner, which is going to go forward his 4. And I think he's going to go forward his 4 again, straight forward. And he's going to turn ever so slightly, like that, to get a bow rake on that. Now, the reason normally that'd be suicide, but these guys can turn at 2 points during their movement, so they can just turn and move off, basically. That's the idea anyway. So let's see what the shooting does. Okay, so we've got 2 heavy guns, and it's a prow rake. And I've got a special guest about to roll the dice, see what my missus's luck is like. So 2 blue. So, no, well, it's the first ever roll in a wargaming situation, so that's a miss. But however, that is actually a hit because you get +2 for the range there. So let's work out the damage for a prow rake. So with a heavy gun, that's 2 normally, and it's doubled because of the within 3 the point blank range. So that's 4 damage +1 for being a bow rake, so 5 damage from 1 hit. Not too bad. Next up we've got our Hammer Fist, so he's going to move forward 6. Now, and turn in. Are we going to try and ram him? No, I think we're better off broadsiding him, aren't we? Come back in for a ram next turn. Move ever so slightly turn, then move forward again. And I'm doing 1 to 6 guys on the movement just because I find it keeps it in a straight line. There we go. Turning back in the other way, like that. Okay, so we're within 3. We've just measured it up, so we're on 4 to hit. 2 close, 2 light. That's a bit better. 4, 3, 4. Double to 8 damage and a roll on the critical hit table, which is a 9 for an additional d6 +2 damage, so another 4, so 12 damage in total off that 1 volley. That's pretty good. Hammer Fist also has 1 light gun out the front, which he'll fire at the Runax, so it's on standard to hit, guys, and he's hit as well for 1 damage. Not too bad, eh? And he's going to try and board. So we're a veteran crew and we've got boarding hooks. It's a 4, guys, so that's a success. So we're actually boarded. We match the ships up. Now, as far as I see it in the rules, it means that they sort of go like that. So now let's have our first ever boarding action. Okay, so the Orcs have a crew strength of 4. Orcs are pretty cool. They get +1 to this roll. And the way boarding actions work, guys, is that now we've aligned, we get to attack. And it's 1d10 each, and a 6+ causes 2 damage, and a natural 10 causes 4 damage. So obviously Orcs will be looking for that 5+. There we go. So it says in the rule specifically a natural 10, so I'm not going to count that as a 10 for the purposes of the Orcs rules. 2, 4, 8 damage. Now our poor Fury only has a crew strength 3, and he gets to attack back straight away. Okay, oh dear. So 2 damage back on the Orcs. So because our Fury lost that engagement, Orcs are really good at boarding, basically. It needs to make a nerve test because it's also crippled now at -1, so we need a 6. Now, Dwarves get to actually re-roll this, and they're just headstrong, basically. There's a 3. Oh, it's so close. Very embarrassingly for the Dwarves, that means that that ship has actually surrendered. So it'll no longer activate, but it'll just continue to fight out as part of this, but an additional -1. Quite embarrassing, but a really sort of bold move for the Orcs there. That Fury is so horrifically good, it needs to be dealt with as soon as it starts. Okay, so we now have our Runax. Now, I'm not massively impressed so far with this dwarf ship surrendering, so I'm actually going to use my turn at the beginning of the move step like that, and he's now going to move forward. Here's 4 and then 4 again, and at that point he's going to turn at the end of his move step. This should hopefully, there we go, get him in some form of shooting position. So he's actually going to shoot at, with his broadsides, he's going to shoot at the Blood Runner. So he's got a heavy, close and a long, hitting on standard 6s. So, not amazing, miss, but we've hit with our close range guns for 3 damage. Okay, so not a brilliant start for the Dwarves there really. The Orcs, when they have the grapple hooks and so on and so forth, are actually really brutal. However, it now comes to VPs. Now the first thing we do before we score them, this is a giant whirlpool which drags things towards it. So we start measuring, and if a ship is within 8 inches, it moves D3 towards the centre of the vortex. If you touch the vortex, you die. Simple as that. Okay, starting with our Hunter, moving 3 inches directly towards it. Now you stay on the same facing, so we've got to use a bit of common sense here, I think. There we go. Our Runax is just within 8, moving 3 towards it. So we're going to move directly towards the centre of it, along the same edging. I've checked the other Orc ships, they're out, apart from the Smasher, which is just in. So D3 for 3, so it seems like a bit of a fierce whirlpool. There we go. So now we score our victory points, and you score victory points for your proximity to this whirlpool of doom. So for an extra large ship, a large ship, not extra large, is he a Smasher? Let's do it, but he's large. He's large, and he's within 8, but not within 4, so that's 1 point for the Orcs. We've got a small ship here, which is within 4 for 1 point to the Dwarves, and then we've got a medium ship, which is within 8 for 1 point, so it's 2-1 to the Dwarves at the end of turn 1. Okay, turns 2 for the wind. Now we were on the table, but because this is a magical vortex, if there's no change in the wind, we actually roll again. So a 4 is move 1 step clockwise, pushing the wind into that corner, and it's turn 2. So that would be the Smasher first. Oh dear, that Hunter's looking, oh yeah, Smasher first. Then we've got our Grimstone, then our Hunter, Squadron, probably our Grimax, and then those two at the side. So yeah, interesting, let's see what happens. Now I'm really concerned about this very expensive points where our Smasher getting dragged into this and annihilated. So, I've got to move forward 4. Oh, and then I'm going to turn. At that point I'm going to open up on this Hunter, because I've got a massive broadside ability, and it's all in range, and it's -1 to hit basically, but I figure if I can kill this, it's going to stop point scoring, and then I can do a swerve. So let's have a look. Oh, that was a 10, guys. Wow. Miss. 2 critical hits for 5 damage and 2 rolls on the crit table. So the first one, which is a 4, is major structural damage, an additional d6 plus 2. That's another 8. So we're already at 8, 9, 10, 13 damage, and then another roll on the crit table for 5, which is another d6 plus 2, so we're 13 damage. Oh, 19, 21 damage off one volley. Taking the hunter to 25 damage total. His maximum hit points is 15. It just absolutely annihilates him. So he's removed from play. What a shot. Now I'm going to... yeah. Jog forward. 4. Oh, wow. So so basically, when this comes to getting dragged, if I roll anything over a 1, that's dead. There's not much I can do about it, I'm afraid. So, yeah, let's see how we get on, eh? Over our Grimstone, he's going to pop forward 4. He's going to pop forward 4 again, and he's going to turn at the end of his move step, hoping to line up a stern rake, which he has perfectly. There we go. 4 heavy guns, normally hitting on 6s, goes to 5s for the sheer size of the target. Let's see what we can do. Ooh, that's a pretty solid hit. So we have 2, 4, 6 damage, double because it's a stern rate for 12, and a roll on the critical hit table, which is 3, which is sailor engine critical damage. The ship takes an additional d6 plus 2 damage for another 7, so that's 19 damage off one volley, guys. And because the sail was damaged, it actually reduces our smash to speed 1. He's going to be really lucky to not die to that giant whirlpool, isn't it? So you might think there, why bother? Why bother giving him a volley if we think he's going to die to the whirlpool? He might not. And he's such a brutal ship, I can't afford him to come in. That's already out of it. This guy here, that probably will deal with that. Okay, squadrons. So we're going to turn slightly at the beginning. Move forward 7 to there. And we're going to... I can turn in any direction. So we're going to turn like that. And have a light gun at the front at the big ship in here. Oh, which is a crit. So 1 point of damage and a roll on the critical hit table. For 4, which is major structural damage and an extra d6 plus 2. So there's another 6. So that's 7 damage off one shot from a little squadron. Not bad at all. So our second squadron is going to pivot. Move forward at 7 and pivot again just to be out of the way. Okay, the Blood Runner is going to move forward 4 and 10 so he doesn't crash into his own friends. At that point, he's going to have a shot at the Grimstone, the Rune Axe. All the same. 1 close gun, okay, which is hitting. He's within 3 here, so he's hitting on 4, which hits, doing 6 damage. Now the Rune Axe is actually going to fire as she bears here back at him, and it's actually, I believe, a prow rake. I've just measured it all up, so let's see if we can actually do some damage back before we get rammed. So we're on 6s normally, -2 for firing space 8, but within 3 is +2 back to 6s. So let's see what we can do. Absolutely shocking, all miss. Blood Runner's final move is going to ram. So he's going to go pop, like that. Now the Rune Axe gets to try and avoid this, but without the additional +1 modifier, so he's a 5 up. And he's done it. So in that instance, the Blood Runner continues its movement along and finishes the other side of him as the Dwarf ship evades. Now the Blood Runner cannot fire because it's been Nork and the Rune Axe now. It fires his bore anyway this side, but now he's done an evade. It does affect the rest of the ship's manoeuvrability and so on and so forth. However, we're going to attempt to board, which he does. So the Blood Runner, unfortunately, is outside of 3 for the rabble rousing here, so it's on 3 dice. So roll it +1 to this roll, so it's 3 solid square hits for 6 damage. But the dwarves get to fight back and have 4 dice. So it's only 4. Unfortunately, it's only 4. Back on the Blood Runner. Now, because neither ship is crippled, the dwarves lost, but it's an ongoing fight, so to speak, and it's actually the Rune Axe to activate next. Okay, so for the Rune Axe's activation, it's actually grappled. You've got 2 options here. You can either repel borders, keep fighting basically, or try and move away. I'm going to repel borders because I don't want to move any closer to the whirlpool. Okay, so it's 4 dice, looking for 6s. So somehow managed to cock a d10. There we go. So we've got 2, 4, 6 damage straight away to the Blood Runner. And the Blood Runner fights back for 4, 5, 6 damage. So it's a draw. Got 6 damage on each ship. Over here we've got the poor Fury, which doesn't activate because it's surrendered. So it goes over to the Hammerfist, and he's just going to continue fighting him again because we don't want to be moving out of position really. So the Hammerfist is going to have an attack for crew strength. He's got a veteran crew, so he gets +1 to the roll. Ooh, that's pretty nasty, isn't it? So there we go. So we've got 4 damage on the Fury. The Fury gets to fight back, however it's crippled. So unfortunately for the dwarves, they roll 2 dice and it's -1. So nothing. So the ship's just still there, still fighting. It's quite a good mechanic just to keep your ship stationary, really, I think. Okay, so end of the turn, obviously there's been some pretty horrific destruction there. But I think the main victory here is going to be this whirlpool now that we move things in. So Smash is the closest ship. Anything above a 1 and it's gone. So the Smasher gets dragged into the whirlpool, is removed from the game. That's watch that one. This Rabble Squadron here, 3 inches is going to remove that from the game. And now we're at the stage where we're measuring. So this Rabble Squadron here is going to move 2 towards it. We've got our Grimstone, which is going to move 2 towards it. Our dwarf ship, so that actually breaks grapple, which is quite interesting. However, this ship as well, so they just follow each other, and that's actually a collision, so we need to resolve damage for that as well, causing D10 damage on the Rune Axe for 6 and back on the Blood Runner for 5. And the final thing that the Vortex actually does, if it drags a ship, it actually takes damage. So D3 damage to that one for 2, to the squadron for 2, D3 to that guy for 2, and D3 to that guy for 3. So there we go, pretty, the most destructive thing on the board's been the whirlpool so far. That's not saying anything, is it? Okay, so in the end phase we now figure out the victory points. So if you're within 4 inches of the Vortex, and you are a small or tiny ship, you get 1. So that's 1 for the Orcs there. We've got a medium ship there, which is worth 3. So let's total up the Orcs first. We've got 1 there. And let's check our range to that ship. So it's just within 4. So we've got a medium ship within 4 as well for 3. So 4 points to the Orcs, and then 2 medium ships within 4 for the Dwarves, 8 for the Dwarves. Okay, for turn 3 we see the direction of the wind, re-rolling if it doesn't move. So we've got a 7, which is no change, but rules of the scenario say that we roll that again for an 8, so it doesn't change. So it's still over in that corner. So we're going to have the Grimstone first, then the Rabble Squadron, then these 2 ships that are boarding each other, and then our Hammerfist over at the other side. So pretty horrific damage across the board so far. So let's see what happens in turn 3. Okay, so I think the Dwarves have got a bit of a lead here now, 10 to 5. So I think with the Grimstone, I'm going to use the ability to turn at the beginning of the move, like that. and we're going to get some distance between us and this Vortex, having seen it just crush a smasher like it was nothing. So we go forward 4. And we're going to go forward again 4. And turn at the end of our move step here. There we go. And we're going to try and volley into the rabble squadron down there. So it's -2 for the size of this. It's a tiny target, and then also -1 because we've not got a clear, partially visible basically. So we're actually on 9s. And nothing. Rabble squadron. Now they can turn twice during the movement, so it's going to move out to 4 inches there, turn ever so slightly like that, and move its remaining 3 inches to put it there, outside of the dreaded 3. Now the rune axe is going to continue to fight. It's crippled now, so we're halving our crew strength, unfortunately. Ooh, 2 big crushing blows. So that's 8 damage on the blood runner, but the blood runner gets to attack back. It's halving its crew strength because it's crippled. It's 2 damage again. For 2 back. So that boarding phase has actually killed the blood runner. I'm just going to mark it because you don't remove a ship that's destroyed like that. It's still there for collision damage, and I assume it'll still get dragged. But that is the activation over. Obviously there's no activation for the blood runner because all the crew are dead. Over here we have our Fury, which is surrendered, so it doesn't activate, but our Hammer Fist does. So I think the Hammer Fist needs to finish off this ship pretty quickly. So there's only 1 hull point left on this ship, so the Hammer Fist kills it all. So that again, that's no longer surrendered. It's now a drifting hulk, but that ship does get to attack back and does nothing. So a quick turn 3, see if the whirlpool claims any more victims. So this ship here is going to get dragged, and unfortunately for it, if I get anything over a 1 on a D3, it's dead. So yes, dragged straight into a watery grave, unfortunately. This ship here is also 3, let's just check that. So that's going to contact it as well, so it removes that. It was just a drifting wreck anyway. Rabble squadron. We know it's over 3, so it moves 2 towards it. Let's there we go. And our Grimstone at the top is going to move 3 directly towards it. Scoring at the end of turn 3, we get 1 point for the Orcs and 3 points for the Dwarves. So turn 4's wind roll. Let's see what happens. We've got an 8, it will be no change, but the rules of the scenario say we roll again for a 9, which is no change again. So we're still over in that corner. We're going to have our Grimstone, then the Rabble Squadron, then the Hammer Fist. So our Grimstone's going to make use of the Dwarves rule with the engines to turn at the beginning to avoid that sandbank. And he's going to move forward 4. He's still at speed 2, so he's going to turn again like that. Puts him just within 3. Oh dear. Now he's going to have a shot at the Hammer Fist. Now this ship obviously blocks line of sight, but I can draw a line to the back of the base, but this is going to be partially visible. 2 heavy guns within 8 inches. So 6s, but -1 because of the partial visibility, to 7s. So we've got 1 hit for 2 damage. Now our Hammer Fist needs to get somewhere where we can actually score. So he's going to go forward 5 and turn. He's full turning, there we go. And forward again 5 and turn. And he's going to have a 2 light gun broadside over at the Grimstone, -1 to hit for the range. Both missed. Phenomenal rolling again. Now our Rabble Squadron there should have actually moved, shouldn't it? So let's shoot him forward 8 to there, and we're going to turn him like that. Okay, into turn 4, it's all about the dragging. So actually here, if the Dwarfs get dragged in and killed, the Orcs actually get the remainder of the turn to actually try and score some points here, don't they? So, it's 2, it's fine. He's like that. He does take D3 damage for 3. Rabble Squadron. Let's draw forward an inch. Now let's have a look at some scoring. So, Rabble Squadron took an extra 3 damage there, so it's up to 5 total. He's outside of 4. Now, if you're within 8 but outside of 4 and you're tiny, you score nothing. However, the Dwarves over there are gazing into the whirlpool and they score 3 points for their proximity. So that takes the score to 16-6 for the Dwarves into turn 5. Wind roll for turn 5. It's an 8, no change, so we roll again for the scenario rolls for a 9 for no change. So we've got our Rabble Squadron, then our Grimstone, then our Hammer Fist. So the Rabble Squadron is going to move forward 4, first of all, 10 like that, and move forward its remaining 3. And I'm hoping, oh, it's just within 3. Never mind. Our Grimstone is going to move forward 4. Bring it to 8. And he's going to turn at the end of his movement step. Like such. And then he's going to move forward 4 again. Turning at the end of his movement step. So I know we're going to leave him like that because you can actually move at the beginning of the next movement step, can't we? Okay, so we're going to prowl rate this squadron. Just double checked in the rules if that was actually something you can do, and it turns out that it is. So we'll have 4 blue into this boy. It's -2 to hit, but hopefully this should finish him. So oof, yeah, so we're hitting on 8s. So 3 solid hits for 6 damage, but as a prowl rake, you get +1 for each one, so it goes to 9 damage total, which takes the Rabble Squadron to 14 damage and just annihilates him. He's also going to broadside the Hammer Fist, which is partially visible, so it's a -1 to hit on 7s. So 2 missed, 2 hits for 4 damage. Okay, so the Hammer Fist activation, he has to move forward his 5, I believe. Let's double check. Yep, 5. So we'll go 2 to 7. So we can keep it nice and straight. He's going to turn into the table, so we don't want to sail off the board. Although I don't think it's going to make a massive amount of difference at the minute. And he's going to broadside the Grimstone. Now it's not a bow rake because of the positioning of the ships, but it is within 3. So let's have a look. Miss and hit, hit, hit. So all damage is doubled there, so we've got 3 to 6, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. Quite a solid hit. Okay, so that's the end of the turn. The only one ship that's capable of being dragged is the Grimstone, which is going to move 3. So let's get our ruler. And that actually puts the Grimstone within 4 inches again, scoring the Dwarfs 3 points. But it does take D3 damage for 1. Okay, so wind for turn 6. Let's have a look. 6. Roll again for 4. Moves the wind 1 step clockwise into turn 6. So that will actually be our good old Grimstone to go first, then the Hammer Fist. We're going to turn at the beginning of the movement step, making use of those engines. And he's going to move forward his 4. We'll fight to 1. At that point, he's going to open up with his broadsides into the Hammer Fist. Okay, so 4 blue, hitting on 6s. And that was pretty bad. 2 hits, 2 misses. So a total of 4 damage. We're then going to continue on with our movement, which he has to do, getting him away from the chip there, and he's going to turn. Time to get some distance. I don't think the Orcs can catch you up here, so he's going to go like that. Let's check his rear fire arc. And it's just out on the Hammer Fist. So our hammer fist gets to activate, it's going to move forward 5. And at that point, he's going to turn. I don't like the idea of ramming him slightly. And he's going to turn forward, move forward 5 again. Ooh, just to there. And he's going to turn ever so slightly back in to give him a broadside. Too light and too close. Point blank. Oof. So 1 miss, 1 critical hit, and 2 hits. So we've got 3, 4, 5 damage, double to 10 for the range so far, and then roll on the critical hit table, which is a 6. So for a 6, we are minus structural damage. It's an extra D3 plus 1. So 10, 11, 12 damage. Not a bad broadside at all. So in the 10-6, the Grimstone is within 8, so it could get dragged. So, well, it will get dragged. Let's have a look at 1. So it's going to move forward ever so slightly like that, but it does take D3 damage for 1. So even though this ship has now taken 29 damage points, it's nowhere near its nerve level. The Dwarves are really, really tough, really, really strong fleet, I think. Beginning of turn 7, let's see what happens to the wind. For a 9, it's no change. Roll again for the Vortex. For an 11, so it moves 1 step anti-clockwise, and at the end of that turn, the Dwarves would have actually scored a point as well. So, turn 7, it's now 20 victory points to 6 in favour of the Dwarves. There's no way the Orcs can win this, but let's finish out the game anyway. He's going to drop down to speed 1, and he's going to move forward his 4. At that point, he's going to unleash an almighty broadside. So within 3 inches, he's going to be hitting on 4s, and damage is doubled. Okay, 1 miss, that's 6, 12 damage in total, solid hit. Hammer fist activation, so he has to move forward his 5. And at that point, he's going to turn in like that, and at that point there, he's going to prow rake him, bow rake him. Okay, so we're hitting on 4, so 1 miss. So we've got 3, 6, 7 damage, double to 14, with an additional 1 per hit. So we've got 17 damage in total. Really, really solid hit there. Another 10 points, and this is crippled. So we've got the remainder of his move step, which he has to make, over to there. And he's going to turn in. Let's have a quick look. There we go. Turn in like that. End of turn 7. Both ships are out of range of the actual vortex. Let's roll the wind. Re-rolling because it's no change. No change. So it's the hammerfish first, followed by the Grimstone. Okay, so the hammerfist is going to shoot for its 5. Going to turn. Going to try and get some points out of the vortex, so it's not as bad a battering as we seem to think. At that point, he's going to actually fire with his broadsides. So too light, too close. We're hitting on 6s. Ooh! Oh, both the close range miss. So we've got 2 points of damage so far, and a roll on the critical hit table. This could do some serious work. It's a 6. So a 6 is minus structural damage, an extra D3 plus 1. So 2, 3, 4 damage. Our brave hammerfist is now going to continue its movement and over to here, and he's going to turn just ever so slightly like that. Okay, the Dwarfs are not going to bother to repair. He's going to turn ever so slightly to avoid the sandbank. Move forward 4. He's then going to move forward 4 and turn at the end of his movement step. See if he's in range. So he's in range, he's just not in arc, unfortunately, so that is really the sort of end of the shooting and so on and so forth. However, we are within Range of the Vortex. So, okay, he's not dead. Like that. He's going to score him some points, but he takes some damage. So he's going to take 3 points damage. He's going to take the hammer fist to 27, which isn't below his nerve, so he's fine. And he's actually going to score 3 points for the Orcs. So there we have it. That's the end of the game, the end of turn 8. And we have a total victory points of 20 for the Dwarfs against 9 for the Orcs. So that Vortex is horrific. The Vortex probably did way more destruction than I did, or any of the ships did, which again, I think sort of like the crucial point there was that Smasher getting dragged to the depths. I think that made a massive difference, because the Orcs actually were off to quite a good start, sort of neutering the Fury and getting rid of that Hunter. So yeah, really cool scenario, really enjoyed playing it. It's something that's quite interesting. It'd be interesting to see how the other races do at it. But yeah, let me know if you've played the Vortex. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. As always, please let me know if there's any rules or anything like that you want to talk about. More Armada's coming soon. So, thank you, wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, stay well. We've hunted some orc, but more importantly, we've had a happy hobby.